Hey guys, it's Jasmine with Moon and Sky Homestead, and today I thought I'd do a little intro video on backyard chickens. Sorry, it's a little bit windy, so I'm hoping that the microphone kind of fixes that problem. But I have a lot of friends that ask me about backyard chickens. Right now they're actually eating some scraps. So that's one thing that I do love chickens for, because they will eat all your leftovers, man. They will just scavenge and scavenge and scavenge. When you first get into chickens, you really want to look into your county and see if you can even have backyard chickens. Every county is kind of different, but definitely look into the policies. Look into the policies of your city and then kind of go from there. But hey, now you're at this point in life. You're able to get the chicken you want. Do you want them for meat? Do you want them for dual purpose? Or do you want them for eggs? All of these have different breeds or varieties of chicken that are domesticated. So you can definitely get some on a hatchery site. That's what I would recommend, and not necessarily Tractor Supply. Or get the chicks from like a local person in your area. That's kind of what I opt to do, since I am in a huge rural, like country farmer area. A lot of people do this on their land, so that's pretty cool. Chickens, in my opinion, are kind of one of the easier homesteading animals to get into. However, they kind of are the gateway to everything else because they're so easy. Really, all they need is good shelter, an area to have their run or free range in, which is kind of what this net is. I've opted for this net to do like a little run option, and food, water. That's basically all they need. Also, you know, supplements like oyster shells and grit, because that's how they digest in their crop. Sometimes they have a lot of health issues, like they can get bumblefoot, they can get respiratory infections. So just kind of like have a health care pack. Go into the breeds that I have. So I have Buff Orpingtons, Easter Eggers. Now I have some Azure hens that were battery hens that I rescued. Really wanted friendly breeds because I do have young children, and that was a concern of mine. I do not keep any mean roosters, and I take that very seriously because my children are so small. I just will not accept that behavior. Some people are not that way. I don't want to have to come outside and be afraid. And I don't want that fear to be instilled in my children of being around animals. I got my birds for dual purpose reasons, for eggs and for meat. Now, whenever they stop laying or we move from this property, I probably will process them. So this is the run setup that we have. I'll show you. We also have one that we made out of like welded cattle panel. And we can move this around. That's what I like about the electric fencing. Right now, it's actually kind of broken and needs to be repaired, so we haven't been using the electric solar power thing that I have. But then we keep walking, and this is the coop my husband built. We purchased the plans for this coop. In a perfect world, I would have liked it on wheels so that we could move it if we wanted to, but it really does the job. It can host 14 birds, 14 to 15 birds, I believe. Under here is where we keep their water, their food, and their supplements. So this is grit, and that's oyster shells. And at night, I can show you guys the nesting box setup. So it's just with these hooks on either side, and you pull it down. Oh, one's trying to lay. And that's kind of how it is. We don't use those ones yet. And with this system, we just have like a little hinge like that. You open it, and I really like this setup of it because you can stick a wheelbarrow underneath and just take everything out. Now, I don't use like bedding in here. I just do like a little roost refresh from Eatin' and Pasture, and I do sometimes that PDZ stuff, and then I scrape it out, and it kind of just sucks all the moisture out. I live in Florida, so this is what's been working for me. I did try sand once upon a time, and it didn't work with how moist it is here. And hardware cloth, you really want this ventilated. I have it both like this because we live in Florida again. And we do have an automatic door system on here. So that's kind of how it looks. I have it placed where there's tree coverage from predators like hawks, because that is common in my area. And they are actually clearing out this space for ducks I plan to have soon. I've had some health concerns. We've had some respiratory infections I've had to treat them for. I've had to treat bumblefoot before. We've had some egg bound that I've done. And in those scenarios, you just really want a space where you can separate that bird and just kind of let that bird either heal or kind of go on its own and not affect the other birds. Yes, death is a huge thing with homesteading, and you kind of just got to accept it. Other than that, these birds have been amazing. They've been giving great eggs for my family, honestly, for my neighborhood, for my family's family. No way, shape, or form is homesteading and having chickens cheaper than buying eggs at the store. It just isn't. Homesteading is more of about where you're getting your food from, what's going into it, being able to be happy with it, right? You're going to want to give your birds a layer feed, by the way. So I will show you what that layer feed looks like. They love treats. Love, love, love treats. And I just get like the cheapest option at Tractor Supply. I've gotten Scratch and Peck, and I would love to continuously buy it, but unfortunately, like, it is really expensive, and the shipping is also expensive. So like, I just cannot afford to purchase that every single time. So I just kind of opt for the best option in my area, and that's just Tractor Supplies. I want to say it's the Purina one or Demore, or I honestly I don't necessarily have a specific one I stick to. We tend to just get the pellets of 15% layer feed from Pride. That's basically just kind of what we get. I do use nesting pads from Eat and Pet and Pasture in there. I don't use bedding. Again, that's just my personal preference. I live in Florida. Do with what you will. Everyone does something different because everybody lives in a different, climate. But yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions about backyard chickens or breeds. I could talk about breeds all day long. Thank you for hanging out with me. Have a good day.